next writer is Taylor Rossell-Knighton. Everybody.
August 27, 2014, was the best day of my life. My baby girl was finally here. After 13 hours of labor, she was as beautiful as ever. 8 pounds, 2 ounces, and 21 inches long, blue eyes, chunky, and so white her dad thought she was purple. I heard her first cry, and my fear disappeared immediately. The feeling was so unexplainable, but the best feeling yet. At the age of 17, everyone and their mother thought they were entitled to an opinion about my parenting. Friends, family, and even sometimes random people. Yes, random people. In my community, there was no boundaries, and everyone was looking to see if I was acting like an adult, with smug faces and nosy-ass questions. Blah, 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 blah. It was the most annoying thing in the world. This was definitely a new playing field for me. Remember, hold her head upright, cover her up. She's too cold, she's too hot. Socks, blanket. I had to remember all these things at once while everyone was talking. And if I didn't, I was an unfit mom. Irresponsible, young, stupid, love-struck teen mom. The pressure was real. But when my baby got sick at 3 months, it wasn't something I was prepared for, nor was it something I knew much about. I was barely getting used to taking care of a healthy baby, so taking care of a sick baby was not on the schedule. As a young mom, it was the scariest thing to go into the doctor's offices. Nurse and doctors with their questioning stares and uncertain eyes and stiff, inhuman-like posture. This examination room was no better. They would sit behind their computers as I answered all their questions. The process was so suspenseful. The doctors and nurses would just look at me after every test with no explanation of what they saw or heard. In a quiet room full of animal stickers and the smell of alcohol and hand sanitizer. November 19, 2014. Her dad and I took her to Rady Children's Hospital. They sent us home saying that she has a common cold. The doctor recommended a humidifier. November 20th, 2014. I decided to document Ava's symptoms on my phone. At this point, I felt I had to go through extreme measures to prove my daughter needs medical treatment for the so-called cold. I brought a high-tech thermometer to track my daughter's fever. So when the time came, I could reference my notes for the doctor's questions. I cleaned her nose with a bulb, the best invention ever, I swear, but truly the nastiest. My daughter's symptoms didn't get any better. Her father and I decided to take her to Grossmont Hospital since it was closer to us. On our way, we go over Ava's symptoms. Hasn't had a full diaper for 3 hours, not eating well, fussy and fluctuating fever. 99 degrees, well here goes 2.5 milliliters of Tylenol. Nurses trying several times to put in a catheter, which never went in. The nurses had the audacity to blame it on Ava because she was too tense. Nurses had, okay, lady, she's sick and a baby. She is getting picked and poked at. Why wouldn't she be tense? But I told myself to calm down. Remember, it's not the time to present yourself in the wrong way. The doctor came in nonchalant with her father and I were sitting at the edge of our seats for good news. So we're sending Ava home, stating that she had a simple cold and keep using the bulb humidifier and try using just a little bit of saline to clean out her nose. And next time, we shouldn't bring her to Grossmont Hospital. They were not experienced enough with babies her age. We have to go to Rady Children's. Her father says, thank you. Well, at least one of us is being polite, while I was stuck with a face of outrage. November 21st, 2014. This day was extremely difficult. Trying to take care of Ava was getting tough. I was doing everything the doctors ordered, eyes droopy, falling in and out of brief sleep. Ava's father and I decided to take turns watching her in a room that smelled like vapor and Vicks. There was definitely a sick baby in the room. I got up to feed my daughter. I would hold her close and feel her sweaty black hair against my skin. Her blue eyes would look up at me and my heart would melt with sadness and frustration. I couldn't help her. Feeding session done and Netflix sliding in my room, I propped her up on the pillow. As she was sleeping, her father and I heard a barking sound. This is extremely weird because we didn't have a dog and nor did our neighbors. We heard it again. Woof, woof. We look down in between us and it's our daughter coughing. So shocked, out the door we go with our sweaty Ava in her car seat on our way to Rady Children's Hospital. My daughter and I entered the hospital, checked in. I went over all her symptoms off the top of my head. Fluctuating fever for 2 days, a cough that sounds like a barking dog, and not eating well. And she cannot complete a one full diaper. We went home on the 19th and nothing has gotten better with the doctor's recommendations. She's gotten worse. As other parents and their children were being called back by name and birth date, I'm being completely impatient, staring at the door that leads to the rooms, hoping that the longer I stare, the faster they will call. Ava Flores, 08/27/2014, it worked. I jumped up with Ava in her car seat, speed walking towards the nurse, so she wouldn't leave us behind. Take off your daughter's clothes and lay her on the bed. I briefly go over my daughter's symptoms again and explain how we've been sent home already for the past 2 days. My daughter is extremely sick and needs treatment. She suggests to put Ava on an IV and catheter while we wait for the doctor and her further instructions. The nurse is preparing all her tools to input the IV and catheter. Anxious and nervous, I tell her about my experience at Grossmont Hospital. If she is not able to put in the catheter, then don't do it at all. The first try, and it was in. We both made faces of relief. The doctor will be in as soon as possible. Here we go again. I saw the lady in scrubs speed walking towards the room. Since I didn't see a white-looking lab jacket, a stiff walk, and a rude judgmental presence, I thought it was another nurse coming to check on Ava. But it was a doctor, and her presence was comforting. She was not rude and didn't walk with a stiff posture or a smug, disapproving face. The doctor didn't give me any reason to pull out my extensive evidence log after we went over Ava's symptoms. She started to look at Ava's chart, and for a brief second, she seemed upset. I thought, what did I say or do wrong? I'm not sure why you've been sent home so many times, but your daughter has bronchitis, and she will be admitted so we can keep an eye on her. We will continue IV and catheter and start some breathing treatments. Before I could say thank you, the doctor was out the door. In this very moment, a weight was lifted off my shoulders with relief. It sounds weird, but I was so grateful for the doctor's diagnosis. So relieved that my daughter was actually sick. She wasn't picked and poked for no reason. My daughter was moved into her own room in a midi hospital gown with baby tires on the outside of it, put in a bright yellow cage. Outside of the cage was the IV, breathing monitors, and tubes all around her. Extremely happy, but yet so sad to see my daughter linked up to the machines and closed off in a cage. Comforting my baby was impossible, but in that moment, I was becoming the mother I always wanted to be. November 26, 2014. During these long string of events, I've gained my voice to speak up and have the courage to voice my opinion, not only for myself, but for my daughter as well. I am no longer ashamed of being a teen mom. Once I gained my confidence and stopped letting people put me down, my daughter and I haven't been treated different since. We stand against negative stigmas society places for us. We reach for the stars and follow our dreams. At the age of 3 months, my daughter was able to change me in every way and continues every day as I look into her big, round, hazel eyes. She reminds me that she is my strength and this world is our playground. She is 3 years old now, and she still pushes me to be the best version of myself. Everything I want to be, she fulfills with elegance, love, and understanding. Selfless, smart, and charming, with a strong attitude no one seems to suppress. She's the best part of me I always wanted to be. She was released with good health.
Taylor Rossell-Knighton, everybody.